Hi, my name is Aina Zaira, and today I'm doing an interview on the topic sign language. So I'm going to interview five volunteers and to get their perspective on sign language. Hi, so thank you for being here today.
All right.
Would you care to introduce yourself?
Okay. Hello. My name is Aniza Fira binti Adnan, and I'm 19 years old. And actually, I'm studying in UITM in statistic, degree in statistic. And but then I'm here in UM to visit a friend.
Would you mind if I ask you a few questions?
Okay. Sure.
So, what is your basic knowledge in sign language?
Oh, sign language. Um, well, I know the sign language from 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 school, from my primary school. We learn a sentence which use sign language to say. We try to express the sentence by using sign language, which is which was taught by my um, counselor, which was taught my primary counselor teacher. So that's all I know about that sign language. I don't know. I don't know much. I didn't know.
So, apart from that, was sign language ever offered in your school as like a subject or?
No, no. My school is not that advanced to offer that course.
So, if not, if in the future it was implemented in your school, how would you have felt?
Oh, it will be great, and
So, so apart from that, was sign language ever offered in your school as like a subject?
no, my school is not that advanced to offer that course.
So, if it was to be offered in your school, how would you have felt? Would you have enrolled yourself in it or what?
Okay, I think I will absolutely enroll in that course because I think it is very. It's not very cool. I think it's a must. It's a must to learn that because actually in my area, my living area, there's a fast food restaurant which is KFC, and the workers are all deaf people. So sometimes, yeah, it is not that hard to communicate with them, but then it will be better if we could do the sign language because usually what I observe from that restaurant is just people just show hand like they want one or two or either they just show from the menu board. That's what they do. They didn't, of course, and then sometimes the workers also using they try to read the lip reading, mouth reading. That's all I know. So I think we need to have the awareness and we need to learn about sign language so that we could communicate with them. And yeah, I think I'm not going to be the only one to register the course. I will force my friends to do that also.
Um, so I take it that you think sign language should be considered as one of the universal languages
Yeah.
alongside English.
Yeah, but not in the examination. Yeah, I think sign language will be a bit. I think yeah, we could use sign language during examination, but of course it's not allowed. That's what I think. As a normal student, I think sign language is important for communication, but it's also will be dangerous if we apply it to the wrong situation, such as in an examination. And but we could also help people with their problem because and from there we could also learn we could be empathy towards them.
Are you aware of the benefits of learning sign language?
Um, what I know the benefits is it's just that you can communicate with them because I think sign language is different from body language because I think body language is already universal, but sign language is a bit different from body language. I think I think deaf people sometimes also use body language that we use, that normal people use. So the benefit is just that we could communicate with the deaf people, but it doesn't really need to be universal. It can be universal language, but then it doesn't have much benefits.
So deaf community is often isolated from the surroundings. Why do you think that they are isolated as, yeah. Wait, let me re-ask you the question. Deaf community is often isolated from their surroundings, from from deaf deaf community are often.
Okay, okay.
Wait. No, I.
I think I know.
Wait. Deaf community is often isolated from the surrounding.
Alright.
Why do you think it is so?
I think the problem is I have a ridiculous answer. Can I say it?
Sure.
This is because they are quiet, so we don't really notice. Okay, that's my ridiculous answer. I think for a proper answer that I can answer is, it's because they try to get along with their community. They try to get along. I think they only mix with their community, and I think they also try to isolate themselves because usually, I think, in my opinion, when I see someone someone is deaf or someone is blind, usually I will try to stay away because I don't want to make them feel I don't want to cause trouble to them, and I don't want to make them feel uncomfortable. That's why I try to stay away from it. I think that's what other people think also. That's why it is unnoticeable, their presence. So people try to stay away, not to try to isolate them, but then try to make them comfortable because it might be hard for them if we communicate a lot, but then we use maybe it is hard for us to understand because it might be hard for them if we communicate a lot, but then we use maybe it is hard for us to understand and they to understand us, so we just stay away.
The situation where they are isolated from the hearing community has caused somewhat of a communication gap. Do you agree that if most of us learn a few basic sign language, it can help the deaf and the hearing communities become closer?
Yes, I think it helps.
Okay, thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hi, nice to meet you. So would you please introduce yourself?
My name is Raina, and currently from Johor. I'm from Johor, and I'm currently studying biomedical engineering in UM.
Okay, is it okay if I ask you a few questions?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, firstly, what do you know about sign language?
I don't know much, but I think it's a language that is used for those who have disability on hearing disability or speech disability.
Okay, well, was sign language implemented in your school?
No,
What would you feel if it was?
I feel that if it's as an option, maybe those who are interested can use it as an advantage and learn this type of language. But if it's implemented as a compulsory subject, I think it will be a bit stressful for students to pick up because, for example, Chinese students have to pick up 3 languages already, and even Malay we have to catch up for even 2 languages. We can't even catch that now. So
Do you think that sign language should be considered as a universal language?
personally, I think that it should be considered because I've seen a lot of people around me that have speech and hearing disability. So I think it would be more helpful for them if a lot more people know about this language. So I think it should be one of the universal language.
Are you aware of the benefits in learning sign language?
Well, I think one of the benefits is that it's one other language that we are learning. It's like one of the advantage we can get. And then besides that, I think that it just help those who has disability more. Yeah.
Do you agree that if most of us know sign language, it can help bridge communication gap?
Yeah, it depends because I think that it depends on how many people are using this language because currently those who are using this language are those who are really have hearing and speech disability. So to connect all the people gaps is quite hard to do it. Like what?
So, would you recommend sign language to your friends?
I personally would recommend because it is one of the advantage you can get. I mean, you can add in your resume and people will be interested in how you learned it actually. So it will also help. For example, you work as a barista in a coffee shop and suddenly there's people who have this disability and it'll help your image in front of your boss, for example, to increase.
So, would you recommend sign language to your friends?
I personally would recommend because it is one of the advantage you can get. I mean, you can add in your resume and people will be interested in how you learned it actually. So it will also help. For example, you work as a barista in a coffee shop and suddenly there's people who have this disability and it'll help your image in front of your boss, for example, to increase.
Since you said that in your school, sign language was not taught or was not offered, do you think that people don't take sign language as serious as other language, and why do you think so?
Yeah, I think so because as a student we are not exposed to a lot of students who have this disability, so we don't know how they are suffering. That's why we didn't we're not like think that we have to help them as an option because we're not um, composed with them. We're not friends with them too much because we don't have a lot of students who have that disability.
Okay, and
Isolated.
um, it's okay. People who people who are mute or deaf or have hearing disabilities are often isolated from their surroundings in terms of work and also just in general. Why do you think so?
I think so. Firstly, because they themselves feel that they don't have the confidence or the time to go and because we don't have communication between us, so they can't just enter our group and didn't do nothing because they can't hear, they can't talk, and that's one of the problem. And usually in school, if you find they'll actually separate those who have disability on the OKU classes. So we, as a student who are normal, couldn't have a chance to go and talk to them or experience what they are suffering for. So I think that's why they usually keep to themselves and prefer to survive on their own.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so hi, thank you for coming. Would you care to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Kazi Shanafisa. I'm from Bangladesh, and I'm currently studying biomedical engineering first year in University of Malaya.
Okay, is it okay if I ask you some questions?
Yes, for sure.
what is your basic knowledge in sign language, or what do you know about sign language?
I know that it is a language used by the deaf people and the people who cannot speak for easier interaction because they can't hear us, they can't hear the words we're saying, and in turn they can't really express themselves. So sign language is a language that helps you understand them better, and that helps them understand us better.
Was sign language ever offered in your school?
It was not, no.
But if it was, how would you have reacted?
I would have appreciated it. Well, personally, I like learning new things, but I think it's good to know certain things. I think just the same way knowing another language is a plus point. I believe that learning sign language is also beneficial. It will benefit other people. Yeah. So.
Do you think sign language should be a universal language?
I do not think so because it is a very small percentage of people actually require it. And at the same time, I think that there are interpreters who actually study these, who work really hard to understand this, and I think they would be jobless if it was an international language and a lot of people knew it.
Are you aware of the benefits of learning sign language?
No, I am not. But I mean, I know that learning another language is actually helpful, and be it any kind of language. So I guess it has similar effects.
Yeah. So right now, the deaf community is often feel left out or isolated from everyone else.
Okay.
Why do you think it is so?
I think because again, there's a clear lack of communication. They can't really express themselves, and we can't express ourselves to them. We actually need a middleman, the people I was talking about, who actually do this as a profession. Yeah, but I think that we should learn some of the basic sign languages so that it's a little easier for us. And if we're actually dedicated to communicate with these people, then we should learn it. Yeah, it's a matter of choice.
So due to them being isolated and us not really associating ourselves with them, it has made sort of like a communication gap between the hearing and the deaf. So what do you think what are your opinion on whether or not sign language could be used as a mechanism to bridge those gaps?
Well, yeah, it can be. We can make them feel welcome, and we can make them feel like they're valued by learning their language, like we actually care about them. We know that they exist. We know that they have difficulty in expressing themselves, so we can do a little bit of seeing things from their perspective and at least trying to communicate with them. But I personally wouldn't waste my time. Not waste. I think I have better things to do than learn a language for someone else. But let's say somebody very close to me cannot speak or cannot hear, then yeah, I would actually teach myself because I care about them a lot. But yeah, at the end it comes down to whether it's a personal choice. You can learn it if you want another skill. But if you don't need it, if it's not going to be a part of your profession in the future, then it's not important.
Okay, so thank you for your time. Would you
Welcome.
care to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, I'm Admina and I'm from Ipoh. I'm studying in UM Faculty of Engineering.
Okay, so can I ask you a few questions?
Yeah, sure.
What do you know about sign language?
I don't really know much about sign language, but I know that it's used by people who are deaf and mute.
Okay. Was sign language ever offered in your school as like a subject for second language or something?
No, it wasn't implemented in my school at all.
If it was, how would you have reacted? Would you liked it?
I'm kind of neutral about it, but I don't think I would probably join and learn anything, but yeah, I'll probably be neutral about it.
Do you agree that if most of us know sign language, it can help bridge communication gap between the between the hearing community and the deaf community?
Yeah, I actually think it can help people communicate with each other. Yeah.
Um, most deaf people often feel isolated from the hearing communities. Why do you think that is so?
Because they can't communicate with us, obviously. Like, we don't understand their language and they can't hear our language, so it's kind of a problem, I guess.
Hi, thank you for participating in this interview.
Hi.
Please introduce yourself.
Why can I play music?
My name is Veronica Narayana Jeffrey. I'm from Shalam and I'm 19 years old. Currently, I am the first year student from Department of Biomedical Engineering of University of Malaya.
Can I ask you a few questions?
Yeah, sure.
What do you know about sign language?
No, sure.
Well, not much because I don't know how to speak the language, but I know that the language is being used by basically people with hearing disabilities, people who are harsh word is deaf and mute, people who basically can't hear or can't speak. They use this language using hand gestures or facial expression. Yeah, but I don't know how to speak the language though.
So, was sign language ever offered in your school?
Sadly, no.
How would you have reacted if it was?
How? Well, first of all, I'm not particularly interested in the language. But then I think other people, lots of people will actually would love to learn it for the sake of, you know, including people with hearing and speaking disabilities within the community.
Do you think that sign language should be considered as a universal language?
Okay, I don't think it's a universal language because like from 100% of whole population, only like 10 to 15% of the total population using the language. So no, it should. I don't think it's a universal language. It's not like English. We have like more than billion people know how to use it, but not sign language. Maybe like less than a million knows how to use it.
But are you aware of the benefits of learning sign language?
Yeah, yes. Because well, basically you can like for someone like me, people who well have the ability to hear and talk. If I am to know how to use sign language, I can help the community who are well basically deaf and mute. If I know the language, I will able to communicate with them. Maybe one day, if I am to become a CEO, I can offer them jobs.
Okay. So, well, right now, the deaf community is they often feel isolated. So, why do you think that they feel like that? And what make them feel less isolated?
I don't know the real number of the statistic, but I mean, we can pretty much assume that out of 10 Malaysians, only like one or two Malaysians actually know how to use the language, how to use sign language. So imagine if you in a party of 100 people in a house, and there's only literally only one person in the house knows how to speak your language, and can actually talk to you, and it doesn't mean that you can like straight fit in within the community just because that one person knows how to speak your language, because the one person might not even want to be friends with you. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Um, so do you think that by implementing sign language as like a basic language for everyone, do you think that it would help bring the communities closer?
um yeah, maybe in some ways, because for once we able to communicate with them, we know what they're talking about, what they feel, so they will be able to express themselves more, and we will actually able to understand it. So yeah.
Okay, so thank you for your time.
Okay.